there, and thank you for being here. This is Your Right to Heal, and this is just a short little course on how to use writing and journaling to overcome mental obstacles and attain better mental health. May and June are typically followed as mental health awareness months. May, definitely mental health awareness, and then June is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder awareness month. So because we have so many survivors that experience these issues, that is why we do this little webinar in May or June. But thank you again for joining us. Just a little overview. Some survivors can cope and move on, but many survivors suffer in silence. And so one type of therapy that helps involves just one person, and that is the survivor. That's writing therapy can be very beneficial to anyone in their healing process, whether or not the assault has been reported or not reported, it doesn't matter. One of the most powerful parts of therapy is cultivating the ability to observe our thoughts and feelings. And this is precisely what writing does. Writing creates a mind, body, and spirit connection. Using your hand to pencil thoughts directly from your mind creates a powerful connection between an inner experience and the body's movement. So we hold our worries and our fears and memories in our bodies, using our bodies in positive ways, doing things like dancing or singing. It all keeps us in the present moment and grounds us. And writing is the same way. Writing does an exceptionally well job at doing this, just like dancing and singing. But journaling or writing, whatever is on your mind, without censoring ourselves, it is a very grounding and a very liberating experience. So just to kind of go into depth about what I was speaking about earlier, writing it's not just a mental exercise. It connects the body in a couple of different ways. It's definitely a physical act. So there are some physical benefits of writing. It's similar, to exercise, and that the brain and the way everything is wired, it's wired to the brain's sensory mode and can provide certain benefits. So writing actually improves blood pressure levels. It actually improves your mood. It increases your feelings of well-being. It improves functioning of your immune system and improves your memory. So positive changes that we see with writing. According to the Center for Journal Therapy, an education and training center whose mission is to make the healing art and science of journal writing accessible to all who desire self-directed change, journaling promotes healing, growth, and change. When journaling is consistent, it can help track symptoms from day to day and can play a part in identifying the causes of stress or anxiety. One of those stressors, once those stressors are identified, then you can work on a plan to resolve the problems and reduce stress. A journal also provides an outlet for positive self-talk, countering negative self-limiting thoughts that can prevent the ability to overcome the effects of trauma. And so if you're watching this, you might be watching it as a therapist or a counselor, or you might be watching this as someone who has suffered trauma and wants to continue on and promote that positive change. So this is the Center for Journal Therapy is one of the resources that we can direct you to regardless. So keep in mind that journaling is just one aspect of healthy living. So if you want to, better manage your mental health, you have to have the whole package. So you have to make sure that you relax and meditate each day, even if it's just a few minutes. And meditation is, not necessarily, sitting in a yoga position. It could just be sitting in your chair and closing your eyes for just a few minutes and clearing your mind. Or it could be saying a prayer if that's what meditation means to you. Or it could be something, just walking outside and not thinking about anything. But you want to make sure you do that. You want to make sure you eat healthy and have a balanced diet. You exercise regularly, get that walk in, stand up and sit down in your chair a few times if you're at a desk job, get plenty of sleep, stay away from drugs or excessive alcohol. And don't forget to include these elements, all these things that you're doing when you're journaling, because it makes it easy to track those behaviors, and you can look back and see if you actually have a healthy balance of each of these in your life. So journaling is a rule-free zone. And that means when you are writing, you have no rules. It's just one of the coolest things about journaling, because you don't have to follow anybody's advice. You just do what you want to do. So as you embark on your journaling, you may want to consider these things. You might will you use a dedicated journal for specific focus, or an all-purpose anything goes journal? And that means, a journal that's just for that a journal that is just for a specific issue, or you might have a journal that is for everything. Maybe you have a day-to-day journal that you write your day-to-day things in, and maybe you have a journal for your overall, life, things like that. Do you want to use lined or blank pages? Do you want to use prompts that day? And we'll go over prompts in a minute. Do you want to include a quote, like as a theme for your writing each day, or on a particular day? You might see a daily poem or a quote that you like, or a psalm or something. You might want to include that. Will you handwrite your thoughts and feelings, or will you type them on the computer? Will you write for only yourself, or will you have entries that you'd like to share for accountability? So if you do that, we want you to know that if you do, that you should keep your journal private so that you can write without hesitation or judgment. And if there are aspects that you'd like to share with someone, highlight them, and then you just wait a day and reread that entry before you decide to share, because you might decide that you're not comfortable sharing that anymore. So just give yourself that little wait period. How will you punctuate? Will you punctuate? Will you have correct grammar? Are you kind of like me, that OCD person that everything has to be just right? Whatever you pick, it's your journal. If you want to doodle or draw, excuse me, you can do that too. There are no rules, and there's a myriad of possibilities with your journal. It's yours. You do what makes you happy. So therapeutic writing. So this is one type of journaling. So if you're having an especially hard time, you can make a section, or you can have your dedicated journal for, like we discussed on the previous section, that is dedicated just for therapeutic healing. It can create additional insight into what's going on in your life, in your world on that day. When do you use this section? Well, you write to de-stress immediately after a challenging situation. Whether it's a tough day, whether it's dealing with somebody who is a constant stressor in your life. But write what you're feeling. Use it to interrupt, and you use this to interrupt the negative thought patterns that are reintegrating the brain, and it'll help you find solutions, but it just disrupts that whole flow of negativity. It gets it out, you write it, you get it out, and you just, a lot of times you feel so much better. So we offer these suggestions when you do this type of therapeutic journaling. Keep the entries private. They're just for you. Date the entries. This can help again when you're going back. If it's dealing with somebody or if it's dealing with a certain situation, you can look and see, you can have that track record of what's been going on. Keep it and reread what you write. Write quickly. Don't hesitate. Don't stop. Just get everything out. Write without censoring or editing. Give yourself permission to tell yourself the truth. Write exactly what you're feeling. Don't say, oh, this is right or wrong. Just write whatever is in your heart, on your mind, and get it out. And write naturally in a way that works best for you. Don't worry about editing if you don't want to edit. Don't worry about punctuation if you don't want that. So journaling tips and techniques. So we're about to go through several slides that have a variety of just different ways that you can write and keep in your journal. So like we said, it could be anything, and your journal can be a case-binded hardcover book. It can be ones that you go to the bookstore. Of course, these can be expensive. Some of them are really nice, but you might want that. You might want that really nice leather handcrafted cover. You might want that one that has, the material covering with patterns or beaded, or you might even find a journal and make it that way. You might, put little jewelry or little gemstones or something that you find in the craft store to make it that way. You might have just a notebook. You might just have a paper tablet or a pad of paper. It can be anything you want it to be. Make it your own. If it's your computer, you can even design. A lot of times you can design there are journaling programs that you can use, and you can design your pages to be whatever color they want. So, but always note the day, the date, the time, and day and location at the top of each entry. Sometimes it's hard to write without reins, and sometimes you need specific guidelines, and that's okay. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. We're going to go into discussing a variety of ways that you can get yourself to journal. So you can free write. This is what most people do. This is a lot of people do, but they'll set a timer for 10, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is. And they just let their fingers flow. They just put pen to paper and or fingertips to keyboard. And they just enjoy a process called the stream of consciousness. So writing without limits. Don't censor yourself in any way. It's okay to repeat writing the same thing. Even, you might have writer's block. You still have that written for 5 minutes and you can't think of anything. You can just write the same sentence, I am blocked until you're not blocked. You can write anything you want. You can write your name. You can write, I don't know what to write. You can, just keep the pen on paper and only give yourself pauses, a few momentary pauses. So you might discover you have lots to say. And when you are through, read through what you have written and highlight anything that you find notable. Another way to journal is to write a letter. So one day you might decide to do this. You might decide to write a letter with absolutely no intention of sending it to the person or people you write to. Whoever that is, this could be a real way of releasing pent up tension. If you're going through a divorce, a breakup, if you're healing through trauma related to a relationship, write to the person involved. Or it might be a family member, it might be a friend who you feel has betrayed your trust in some kind of way. It might be something, a boss or an employer, but just don't send it. This is a letter for you only. And it's just helpful to write this and then read it aloud, and even consider burning it, tear out the page and burn it, or, because this is just a true release of, frustration or whatever it is you're going through. So, if you keep them, just remember that the letters are for you. If you're dealing with an addiction or fear or anxiety or grief or depression, write a letter to these big, heavy concepts that you're dealing with. You could tell your anxiety to get lost. You can ask your addiction to leave you alone. Send depression on its way. In her book, Big Magic, author Elizabeth Gilbert addresses a letter to fear as a practice before embarking on any creative endeavor. If you're looking for some motivation, pen a cheery letter to joy, bliss, optimism, positivity, or perseverance. If you enjoy this practice, you may wish to start a dedicated therapy journal in which you keep your letters. So again, it might be something just for letters, but you can write letters to positive feelings too. So, and keep those as well. So whether it's something that's big and heavy on your shoulders, or if it's something that, you need something for motivation, you can always write a letter to that feeling or that person. You could write a manifesto. What is a manifesto? Well, a manifesto is a personal or public declaration of what you stand for, your core values, and a call to fulfill your purpose. So recognizing what gives you your life meaning and direction, and doing what makes you happy is very, very healthy. Identifying the things that make you happy is a key factor in mental health. So dedicate some time to thinking about who you are. What are your talents? What gives you joy in life? Are you happy with your day-to-day life? Get motivated and inspired by any insights from your journal. Once you've drafted your manifesto, write it and print it out and make it visible near your daily intentions. And then what's the next step? You just live it. You live that manifesto as much as you possibly can. Nobody's perfect. You'll never get it every day, but if you strive, that can help your positive energy. Bonus, if you're not sure about your purpose, don't worry. This may be the tool to help you find it. So when you're going through asking yourself questions, you might find that manifesto. You might find that purpose that you didn't have before. And a purpose in life is truly a great way to achieve mental health. Write morning pages. So begin a daily practice of writing 3 pages each morning. In her book, The Artist's Way, poet and playwright Julia Cameron suggests this apparently pointless process is a vital tool for recovering, reinvigorating, and harnessing your creativity. Cameron explains, put simply, morning pages are 3 pages of longhand writing, strictly stream of conscious writing. They might also more ingloriously be called brain drain, since that is one of their main functions. So you just drain everything that you're thinking from your brain so that you can start the day fresh and new. When you complete a journal, go back, reread your pages, and highlight any insights and any action to be taken. If you're not a morning person, do it whatever time of the day that makes you happy, whatever time you feel like you need that brain drain. You might need them in the evening. It might be healthier for you to be able to actually go to sleep if you drain your brain. That's an exercise that people try to employ when they have insomnia. Sometimes it's really hard. You just try to think about everything possible to get it out of your brain. Maybe this is something you can do so that you can go to sleep more easily. But the idea is to show up, commit yourself and your dreams, and make healing a habit, and start considering unprecedented ideas for creating balance in your life and work towards them with gratitude. Write yourself a birthday card. This is a fun way to journal. You can write a birthday letter to yourself with your personal dreams, desires, and goals for the next 1 to 5 years, maybe, maybe even longer, but make it kind of a time capsule with a message, insights you'd like for your future self to remember, and address it to yourself and sign it lovingly. Hide it and open it on whatever future birthday you want to check in on. So those are fun. I know people that have done that on quite a few occasions, and it's always it's it's more exciting than it is looking back and saying, oh, that sucks. I think most people find the change that they've made in themselves is usually for the better. Write your goals. So this is something that I think we should all kind of keep ourselves on tasks doing, regardless of whether you're writing, journaling to heal, or you just want to grow. This is such a great exercise. So creating and nurturing goals is one of the best uses of a journal. Begin by writing 3 to 5 big life goals, and for each big goal, write 3 to 5 small tasks you can do each day to achieve those goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, achievable, and relevant to your life and time bound. So you don't want to do something like, ending world, ending world disarray. That's not going to happen. There's always going to be disarray in the world. Maybe in your life, it might be, excuse me, to change somebody. You might have somebody who is a negative influence in your life, and you might say, oh, I want to change this person. That's not a SMART goal. You might, if you know that this person is, you might need to extract this person from your life, and that might be the smarter goal. So you can do measurable steps to get towards that extraction. After you finish writing, keep your journal open and practice one sun salutation per goal. The body keeps the score. Doctor and researcher Bessel von der Kolk explains that moving the body mindfully helps to release trauma from your body and brain. Make space for inspiration and motivation to follow through on your new goals by directly creating that connection with bodily movement. Remember to cool down and enjoy Savasana to integrate your goals into your body. So this is kind of, when you add movement to your goals, to your writing, you're just creating even more of a connection, like we talked about before, more of that mind, body, and soul connection. And you can do this, with your goals. You can do this with any of the other writing. It's just a little bonus that to keep in mind when you're doing your journaling. Keep a focus journal. So focus journals are great because as yoga teacher and author Elena Brower says, early on in recovery from any trauma, deep grief, or addiction, shifting from your smallest daily routine can make the biggest difference in your success. So if you begin to track your personal cycles through a dedicated focus journal or a special place to keep track of anything you'd like to shift in your life, and cycles meaning emotional cycles or behavioral patterns, keeping a daily food diary, for instance, that can be behavioral. What are you eating? Using an exercise journal. Am I actually exercising as much as I think I am? Tracking your changing feelings through the day, noticing your rhythms as they connect to the moon even, because we know that the moon actually has effects on personality and how we react to people, that the gravitational pull of the moon is very strong. Writing each morning in a dream journal, write your dreams, that can be fun. Or listing 3 things you're grateful for each evening can jumpstart this healing. And as long as it's your focus journal is going to be focused on one thing. So you're going to focus on what you're eating. That's your journal for eating. What your journal on exercising, your journal on dreams, just for dreams. So these are part of, and they might be like little smaller paper pads or something that you have, but they're going to be dedicated to one single issue, one single focus. All right, so some people say, well, how do I get started? It can be very challenging. So you might ask yourself, what do I write about? If you've gone through everything and you still you decide you don't want to use the focus journal on whatever, your diet or your exercise, whatever, you just want to do that brain drain. Let's use that for example. You might say, but how do I start? I'm sitting here in front of these blank pages and I just don't know what to write about. So if you use prompts or questions, you can ease yourself into reflecting on your thoughts. So you begin by replying to the prompt. And then you, again, later go back and reread what you've written and highlight all those themes, all those actions that you've written about. And it's going to be a great way to heal and to grow, to see what you've written, where you've come from, and where you're going. So the following pages have 20 prompts that can get you started. You can try different ones each day. Whatever you feel like doing. So these are some great prompts. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? You can write a love letter to the world. You can say, if I'm really honest, then, I would say this about my job. I would say this about my neighbor. I would say this about what I'm eating. What I do every day matters more than what I do once in a while. So today I'm going to start doing this every day. And write about how you're going to do that every day. Imagine you've got a whole day to do everything you love. What would this blissful day look like? Just describe the day. Think about the things that make you just the happiest in your life. How are you feeling right now? You feel, you're feeling something. So right at this present moment, are you tired? Are you hungry? Just start from there. What makes me giggle? And if you use words like giggle, then that a lot of time, if you just say laugh, that's more generic. But if you use words like giggle or snicker or things like that, they're not as common, and that kind of sparks something that in your mind that maybe you wouldn't think of otherwise. So use words that you don't normally use. Or you can just start simply with I am what? I am a person. I am a grown woman. I am a grown man. I am a counselor, whatever. I am is open. I feel. Well, I feel could be a little different from what you're feeling right now. I feel is going to be what physically is under your hands, what physically you're sitting on, what you can touch, basically. I love. Who do you love? What do you love doing? I speak when when I see something going on that I don't like. I speak when, I'm a good conversationalist, whatever that looks like to you. I see, what are you physically seeing at the moment? I understand. What are some things that you actually do understand? Blank in my life holds me back. I can change this by. That's pretty straightforward. What about the future causes fear, and how can you confront what causes that fear? What about the future sparks happiness, and what could you do to create more happiness? It angers me that there's a lot going on in our world right now that probably can anger most of us. The best adventure I ever had began when. If I wait to be ready, I'll never, and I want. What do you want? I want to see my persecutor in jail. It might not be attainable. It might not be something that can be a reality, but it's what you want. So, prompts to get past the past. So even though we're talking about how to journal, and we've talked about a lot of great ideas and how you can, journaling is helpful in so many ways, especially you can recognize patterns and things. Sometimes there are certain traumatic events that just continue to weigh us down. And it's really hard to get past the past. And that's very much a part of post-traumatic stress. Writing about those events honestly and from your heart can help you make meaning of what happened, as well as better understand others' points of view. If you've tried writing and it hasn't helped, perhaps a new approach to writing about the trauma might help. For the most positive effects, choose an emotional issue that is currently bothering you and where enough time has elapsed that you feel ready to write about it. You might, that's important. You don't need to become re-traumatized and put yourself in a more negative spot. So make sure that you're actually ready to write about the trauma that is keeping you weighed down. And there is no need to reopen trauma that you've already confronted, that you've already healed from, or force yourself to write about something that is too painful to think about. Unless you're available, you could take on that trauma alone. You think you can do that? But if you have a counselor or somebody that you can turn to, then you might be able to do that, to confront things that are very painful, as long as you have that safety net. So how do we get past the past? Address how this trauma or issue influenced other aspects of your life. How has it affected your work, your family, your personal relationships, your current living situation? In what way has this emotional upheaval made you more vulnerable? And in what ways has it made you stronger? So maybe it has made you more fearful, but that fear in turn has prompted you to take a self-awareness course, or self-defense course. And so you're maybe stronger in that aspect. Or maybe you started working out and physically you're stronger. What have you learned by going through this trauma that now affects the way you make your decisions? Write about positive decisions you made or believe you will make as a result of what you went through. So this has been a life-changing event, and it has changed you. So you have to start looking at the silver linings and find the positive decisions that you've made and write about those decisions. Write a letter to your past self, the self that went through the loss or trauma, from your today self. What would you say to comfort you? What advice would you give you? Offer your past self the acceptance and love that your past self needs. Write about the event in the third person as though it happened to someone else. Change the location and, if possible, the gender of this someone else. After you've described the event and its effects on the person, read your story aloud. How does reading and hearing about the event as though it happened to someone else change your perspective? If you've suffered as a result of someone else's actions, write about the event from his or her perspective. What was their background and what was going on in their life at the time? What does forgiving the another person mean, and what would it take for you to forgive him or her? Forgiveness can release harbored contempt and propel healing. And that is one of the hardest things to do when it comes to trauma, when it comes to someone who has inflicted this horrific event upon you. You might find that you can never forgive that person. Some people can't. However, if you can, it's been told that giving forgiveness can release you from that person's grip. That until you give forgiveness, you're always under that person's grip and that person's control. And everybody is different. So some people might feel that way, some people might not. But sometimes if you just try to forgive that person, it can really release a whole lot of inner negativity. Write for 20 minutes, beginning with, if that happened, let whatever comes up, come up. Write about it and realize that things may or may not be better regardless of what happened. For some of our soldiers that have been overseas and have experienced combat, what would happen, if I had never experienced, that, stepping on that mine or witnessing my friend do that and losing my friend. Sometimes this is going to be a very revealing exercise. Again, many of these exercises we really recommend that you utilize if you have a support system. And now we come to our final thoughts. Write whatever and however it makes you feel happy each day. These are some of the things that really you want to remember. You want to focus on when you start journaling. You're never limited by your own mind and fears, or you're only limited by your own mind and fears. So when you're journaling, the world is your oyster. Don't limit yourself. Change takes action. So by journaling, you are making a change, you are taking action. And when you do that, you will see change in your life. If you're writing because you're feeling overwhelmed and trapped under a dark cloud, then give yourself time. There is no time limit on overcoming somber feelings. Just remember that. Your journey is your journey. It's no one else's journey. So whatever time it takes is the time that you need. And this is one of my favorite thoughts. If progress was always easy, there wouldn't be centers with people to help survivors or how-to books on these subjects. Everyone needs a helping hand in some directions at some point in their lives. It's like success is not as easy as failure. It's the same concept. If it was easy to succeed, there wouldn't be all the books published on how to succeed. So just always remember that it's not going to be easy. And remember, don't quit, never quit. Happiness is there for the taking. In your given time, you'll have it. So thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate that you were interested in learning how to journal as a part of a healing journey. As I said before, this might be for you personally. This might be for you as a counselor. I hope that you found some points in here to add to your life, to add to your personal suggestions or professional suggestions, whatever it is that prompted you to join us. I hope that you found some good little nuggets in here that can help you. If you would like more information on journaling to heal, we have a local resource, Lorna L.A. Lewis. She's a national best-selling author, CEO and LCL Publishing Company, and a writing coach at Changing Lives the Right Way. She's also a graduate of Southern University here in Louisiana, but she does a lot of journaling courses. And if you want to reach out to her, she is always more than happy to help anyone. Also, we have other references. These can be found online. These have links that you can type in and get more information on many of the topics that we discussed in this webinar today. And thank you again. If you would like a hard copy, I can send you a PDF of this webinar at kelly@lafasa.org. Also, this is being recorded, so you should be able to go back and watch at your leisure. Thank you again, and we hope that you have a wonderful time journaling.